Good evening, my name is Kacper Baradowski and you're watching Poland Daily News. There is no clear answer to the question whether the Trzaskowski effect has made an impact on the opposition voters. According to some polls, the Warsaw mayor decision to join the race for Poland's highest office put him in a prime position to rival the incumbent president Andrzej Duda in the second round of elections. According to other surveys, Trzaskowski's bid did not have a significant influence on the hierarchy of presidential candidates. A few hours after the official announcement that Rafał Trzaskowski, mayor of Warsaw, will be the Civic Coalition candidate in the 2020 presidential campaign, the first Kantar Polska survey for Fakty TVN was published. The new candidate in the race was ranked third, just behind Szymon Hołownia. In turn, according to today's Estimator survey for dorzeczy.pl, if the presidential elections were held on Sunday, Rafał Trzaskowski would come in fourth. Andrzej Duda would win in the first round, followed by Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz and Szymon Hołownia. Political commentators have no doubt in their minds that beating out Szymon Hołownia as well as Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz will be the main challenge ahead of Rafał Trzaskowski. The mission is even more so important given the difficult position of the Civic platform, who are going through their lowest period in history.
Wygrał niespodziewanie w pierwszej turze w Warszawie pomimo...
Rafał Trzaskowski won the first round in Warsaw's mayoral elections despite a rather weak campaign, and today he also comes in with some image problems, such as the Czajka sewage treatment plant fault, increasing garbage disposal fees and so on. I think his campaign staff are focused not on Andrzej Duda as much as on Szymon Hołownia and Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, because the supporters of these two candidates are exactly who he will be attempting to take over. The date of the presidential election is yet to be announced. Politicians of the ruling camp have indicated June 28th or July 5th as viable options. Currently, according to the election code, the electoral committees must be nominated 55 days before the election, and the candidates themselves must be nominated at the latest 45 days before the vote. However, the law adopted by the Sejm gives the Speaker of the Sejm the right to change these terms after consulting the National Electoral Board. No information was published today concerning the number of cases of coronavirus infection in Poland. According to the Ministry of Health, 168 new cases of infection and 5 deaths have been recorded in the last day. In a press conference, the head of the ministry, Łukasz Szumowski, said that the epidemic is beginning to pass in the country. The largest number of new patients infected with the SARS-CoV-2 virus in Poland was reported in Silesia, as many as 138. 10 new cases have been reported in the Dolnośląskie Voivodeship, 6 in Opolskie, 5 in Wielkopolskie, 4 in Małopolska and 1 each in Podkarpackie, Pomorskie, Kujawsko-Pomorskie, Świętokrzyskie and Zachodnio-Pomorskie. The total number of infections in the country since the outbreak of coronavirus has increased to 18,912 of which died due to the disease. Over the past 24 hours, COVID-19 has taken the lives of 5 Poles. German Minister of Foreign Affairs Heiko Maas today called on Poland and the Czech Republic to fully reopen their borders with Germany to enable the free flow of people and goods. The two countries are, however, reluctant due to the high number of infections in Germany and instead mull a plan in which the 4 Visegrad states, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic and Slovakia, are to reopen the borders between each other as the first phase. At the border between Germany and Luxembourg, German Minister of Foreign Affairs Heiko Maas called on Poland and the Czech Republic to reopen their borders with Germany. The statement came after a meeting with Jan Asselborn, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Luxembourg. The European Union this week also pushed for member states to reopen internal borders and restart travel, but recommended Europe's external borders remain closed for most travel at least until mid-June, to avoid a second wave of infections in the coronavirus pandemic. We will stop border controls for Denmark in the next few days, and from June 15th there will be no more checks at the border with France, Austria and Switzerland. I'm hoping that the border controls that our Polish and Czech friends are currently carrying out will also be lifted in the foreseeable future. However, as the country has reported more than 20 times less coronavirus cases per capita than Germany, the Polish government is reluctant to such ideas, and the country's Interior Ministry stated earlier this week it would extend its strict border controls until June 12. Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babiš has said there were currently no negotiations with Germany to lift travel restrictions because the coronavirus situation there was not as stable in Germany as in its other neighbors. There are over 200,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus infection in Brazil, which is much less per capita than in Germany and France. Over 15,000 people have died throughout the country since the outbreak. Yesterday, Health Minister Nelson TEICH offered his resignation. The coronavirus is also spreading in Brazil, where 15,305 new coronavirus infections and 824 new deaths were reported in the country yesterday. The president and most state governors disagree on how to tackle the epidemic. A similar clash was reported between President Jair Bolsonaro, who is in favor of unfreezing the economy as quickly as possible, and Health Minister Nelson TEICH, who has now announced that he is resigning from his position.
A vida é feita de escolhas.
Life is full of choices. Today I decided to resign from my position. I did my best while I was the Minister of Health. It is not easy to serve this function in this difficult time. The resistance to issue a recommendation regarding unfreezing the economy, as well as differing opinions in the matter of using anti-malarial drugs for the treatment of COVID-19, were allegedly the reasons for the politician's resignation. The left-wing opposition has encouraged its supporters to protest on their balconies against the president's strategy. One of the most vocal opponents, Governor of São Paulo and former Bolsonaro supporter JOAO DORIA, is accusing the Brazilian president of a lack of sensitivity towards human suffering, but observers say it's just an attempt to run against Bolsonaro in the presidential election in 2022. This situation once again shows Bolsonaro's insensitivity, intolerance and inability to understand the dimension of the position he holds as the President of the Republic. President Bolsonaro believes the governing Brazil and family administration are the same things. Being the president means to have the sensitivity, ability and vision of holding this position for all Brazilians, both those who voted for him and those who did not. He has to take care of the inhabitants of all parts of this country. The difficult situation also touched the United States, where 1,680 people have died due to coronavirus in the last 24 hours. The total number of those infected reached 90,000. The most worrying data was recorded in New York, where doctors are reporting more and more cases of pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children.
We've done a lot of research, as you know. Those new cases mostly coming from people who are at home. So we're talking about home spread, more than at work, more than first responders, more than essential personnel. And that's the hardest place to control the spread, is when a person's literally at home, right? There are very few precautions. It's all about personal behavior.
Despite the high number of deaths, more and more Americans demand that the government unfreeze the economy and lift restrictions. Yesterday, Pennsylvania residents protested in the streets of Harrisburg, where there is still an active warrant for the inhabitants to stay at home. That is all for tonight. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for Poland Daily Business. Good night.